sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to Heat Breakdown. Last night's game between the Heat and the Pacers was a pretty interesting and telling game, and I'll say that Haslem is the most important player on this team, and without him it won't even matter if they have the big three because they're missing their most tenacious and intelligent defender. And without that, teams are going to run roughshod over the Heat, no matter how good they are on the offensive side. The Heat open up in a pretty good offensive set where they'll have Dwayne Wade curl around the screen. There's too much space in between there, so it's not effective. But then they're going to want to have Bosh come to the pinch post. McRoberts does a nice job defending that twice, so they have to bring the ball over with a dribble. However, they swing the ball around and let Bosh go to work down low. Good offense. With the advantages they have, I can't imagine Spoelstra wants to see LeBron fire up a three in the fast break. He does, though, get a good steal at half court, but here's where his dribbling isn't always so great. He loses the ball here, and it's going to take him at least 5 seconds to get back into the front court. Meanwhile, Danny Granger is executing a beautiful stop and pop for a deuce. They run that same curl play with Wade, and this time Wade's going to get the ball first because they executed a little bit better. You'll see Brandon Rush go the wrong side of the screen so that when he comes out from the other side, he has to foul Wade, but they didn't call it on this one. Most teams are going to pick on Arroyo, and whenever the point guard gets the ball like Collison, they're just going to attack him and bring him to the basket. But then, if Bosh is so weak on the boards, they're going to get hammered by guys like Roy Hibbert on a nice putback. Here's some nice high post offense where the ball goes to Z, and then they're going to do a scissor cut in front of him. This is nice. This is good. Nice shot by Arroyo. I want you to watch Carlos Arroyo's defense. When McRoberts goes to the basket here, you're going to see Arroyo help out even though his man is one pass away. You can't do that, you lose track of your man, and he goes to the basket and scores. Let's rewind this though. I want you to look at the weak side. Watch both LeBron and Wade walking around out there and not helping out. And here's Josh McRoberts, of all people, just ripping LeBron James. He tries to go one-on-one on the baseline, and boom, it's just gone. Check for your wallet, LBJ. Ilgauskas just doesn't have it anymore. He cannot rebound with his younger guys. Here is some consistency. The Heat are going to run that high post again, but instead of scissor cut, you're going to see Arroyo misread the play and do a backdoor cut. If his man was playing higher up into that lane, then he would backdoor, but instead it's not there. However, they do bring the ball over, do a screen and roll here. Dwayne gets nothing on the baseline, but they swing the ball back around, get a screen and roll with Z and Arroyo, and Z pops out for a nice jump shot. This is good. Here they run pinch post right away, and they get a very nice play. Arroyo quickie around and right to Ilgauskas for a dunk. Good stuff. Here's the high post again a scissor cut, and then this time Dwayne Wade gets to the basket. He spent most of the night looking for a foul call, though. It's probably why he shot so poorly. This is becoming a pet play for the Heat where Arroyo will backscreen James, who cuts to the basket. I can't imagine how Dwayne Wade misses this pass, though. Here's a simple cut to the basket they can't defend. Wade is not pressuring the ball enough, and you think Haslem would have stopped that pass from getting in? So now Miami will run the UCLA high post offense, which is nice. They get Wade going down the lane line, and he comes back around off of a couple screens. This is all good, but as soon as the ball stops, he just backs it up and says, F this, I'm just going to fire it up with 10 seconds on the clock. I think the Heat are hoping other teams don't pick up on this, but watch this. They are going to score on a tip-in and still get beat down the court in transition. Miami doesn't pick up, they don't stop the ball until it's too late, and they get a wide-open three. So here comes Dwayne Wade doing his thing. I guess from time to time he gets to back down on the offense and do a fadeaway, but it's a pretty bad shot in my mind. Now watch where they miss Haslem. On the transition, you're going to see McLaurin not hustle back and Thunley to get to the layup. Don't you think that Haslem would have stopped that? For all you young players, watch Hansbrough here. Great defense with his feet, but he chops his arm down on Bosh. No matter if it's clean or not, they're always going to call that a foul. Keep your hands up. I'd like to see stats on when Wade brings it up versus when LeBron brings it up versus Arroyo and who is more successful. Does anyone know where to find that? Because this instance couldn't be any worse for Dwayne Wade. That's a pretty bad pass he throws. Watch Eddie House's defense on Ford. It's really good stuff. He hustles, he gets through screens, he comes all the way around. But this is what's going to happen every night against the Heat. Teams are going to make shots like this, and there is nothing you can do about it. Here's a good shot by Bosh in the flow, LeBron hitting him coming across. However, under the basket, there's only one guy there for the rebound. You'd like to have at least two rebounders to give you a chance. Watch Wade here on defense. When he falls asleep for a split second, Kareem Rush is going to get around for an open shot. I guess the Heat players are a little tired because their offense becomes a little stagnant here. It takes them way too long to get into a good set, and by the time they do, there's only 12 seconds to go on the shot clock. Z takes a long outside shot, only one guy under the basket, so you think they'd be back, right? They still get a long down-court pass and somehow miraculously get a blocked shot, although it should have been a dunk. That said, because their defensive rotation is off from not getting back well enough, Granger pops out, gets a three and a foul, and this is where Indiana starts to pull away. And here's where Haslem is so important for the Heat on his transition defense and general toughness. They run a nice little offense here where they get the ball swung, a little pitch, and then a tip in by Z. But they don't get back after a make again. They race right back down. Rush gets the ball in the wing, and an effective fast break gets to the basket for a layup. This is terrible. Here's an example of how LBJ and Dwayne Wade are not yet on the same page. Wade gets the ball to LeBron on top, and then LeBron simply tries to pass it to him in the corner and throws it out of bounds. That is just inexplicable. Indiana runs the Princeton offense in the high post back screen series, which I love. Wade's man is going to back screen Chris Bosh. Wade does not call it, doesn't help out or do anything, and Hansbrough gets a dunk, and you know you're in trouble when that happens. Wade's having a downright awful shooting night, and this is part of the reason. He gets an open shot but decides to fade away instead. Makes it a lot harder. Oh, and no one's under the basket either. And here's another problem. When Wade brings it up, he's going to try and do it all himself. He tries to drive to the middle, he gets cut off, he goes down to the lane line, gets cut off. This is all terrible while everyone is standing around watching, and then he almost throws the ball away. Someone showed me that stat comparing him bringing the ball up to LeBron and to Arroyo. So here's where the mental aspect comes in. Wade is having a career low night, so he just puts his head down, goes to the basket, gets a charge here. In case you want to argue that, let's look at the replay. The guy was standing there waiting for him. Perfect call. And here's the play where Dwayne Wade got teed up, which effectively ended the game. There's some contact in the back, but certainly the block is clean. And you got to be mentally tougher, and you can't get a technical foul in that situation. So there you have it, folks. Dwayne Wade is still going to be my whipping boy for a little while. He might still be injured. I know his left wrist is really hurting him, and that must cause his legs not to run as hard. I don't know. However, if it's his hamstring, I haven't heard much about that, but there's no reason that people are paying a lot of money of their hard-earned wage to go see a guy who is not giving the effort they need, A, to win, and B, to enjoy the game. So I'm going to say it again, Haslem is as important as Wade or LeBron or Bosh because he's doing everything they need him to do that none of those guys are willing to do. And without that, they're stuck with second-rate front court with not a lot of help. Now, I also hear they're going to cut Jerry Stackhouse and maybe bring in Dampier. And I got to tell you, that's not what they need either, but if they need another big body that can do something down there, I guess that'll help. Well, stay tuned for our next breakdown. There's another game coming up real soon, so thanks for joining us. And don't forget, at Heat Breakdown, it's not a channel, it's a conversation.